Hey guys, Work here. Welcome back to Work the Trigger. H&K has been a staple in the firearms industry for years, and always their quality has been impeccable and their price point has been pretty high. Today we're going to be doing our first shots reviews of their more affordable entry, the H&K VP9 2020 Optics Ready. Let's get to work. Work here. Welcome back. The H&K VP9 is a gun that I have long wanted to shoot and have just never gotten my hands on. The VP9 is a polymer frame, striker-fired handgun with a pretty solid trigger pull. The magazine is a 17-round magazine, giving you full-size firearm capacity in this thing, but it does have a relatively long grip to it. Sitting at about 7.3 inches long, 5.4 inches tall, with a thickness of about 1.3 inches, it is about the size of a full-frame gun as far as the height goes, a little bit shorter with its 4-inch barrel. Now the trigger pull on the VP9 is rated at 5.4 pounds. Let's take a look and see if that's accurate. 5.2 and 5 pounds. So we've got a low 5-pound trigger here, which is in my opinion perfect for a carry gun or a duty gun. You get down into like the 3-pound range, and in my opinion it's just not as optimal for carry or duty. Now that we've gone through the advertised specs, let's go ahead and give a rundown of the gun itself. Up at the top, we've got a night sight-ish setup. We've got a large front dot that is illuminatable. Toss your flashlight on there for a little bit, and you can see it glows green, so that's kind of nifty, but that does require direct light, unlike something like tritium or fiber optic, which can grab ambient light and light the rod up. In the back, we've got a nice set of blacked out sights with a square notch. These sights sit extremely low and are actually really good profiled sights. The proportions between front post and rear notch seem to function pretty well together, and with a sight radius of over 6 inches, it's a pretty solid sight setup. Now, this is an optics ready model. I did not put an optic on this because, like the CZs, this does not ship with plates. Now, you can buy plates. I'll see if I can find some links to those and maybe put them down in the description below. I've not looked a whole lot yet. H&K does say that you can get them on their website, but there are a total of 5 different plates that you can get, mounting more or less any red dot that you want to. Moving down from there, this does have the ambidextrous controls of standard VP9s. The slide release, nice and light. You're not fighting against kind of a backward ledge or anything. And they are low profile to assist with carry. Already talked about the trigger a little bit, and this is not the B model, so this does have the European flappy tab mag releases that I'm not the biggest fan of. I think it's just because I've run the thumb release for so long, that's what I'm used to. This one, because I have pretty small hands, I really have to shift my grip to get it with my thumb, and then I can get it with my trigger finger. That's actually the easier way to do it. I'm assuming that's probably the way you're supposed to do it, but because I don't train with these, I don't know. And it does have the rail on the front. Next, let's talk about ergonomics a little bit. H&K, in my opinion, is very similar to CZ, where the ergonomics of the firearm kind of make the firearm. They just tend to fit a little bit better. Now, the VP9 does have finger grooves, but they're not as pronounced as they were on the Glock Gen 3s and Gen 4s. Meaning if your fingers don't line up with the finger grooves, they're going to be a little bit more comfortable than the Glocks were. Now, I have apparently European-sized hands, so my hands fit the finger grooves just fine. I don't know if that says more about me or Europeans, but take that for what it is. It does have, for my tiny hands, enough to get a solid grip on, and about a 1/4 inch down at the bottom, which means people with like medium to large size hands going to be pretty comfortable with this. Larger hands than that, you're probably going to be grabbing into this, the last little finger groove, which is more pronounced than the others. Magazine release is extremely positive. Those magazines shoot out of there, which is extremely nice considering some of the things that we see as far as mag releases go. And the texturing on the grip, you wouldn't think it's nearly as good as it really is. It is a solid texture. It's not grabby like something like a P10C is. It's a little bit more than something like a Sig Legion is. So it's kind of a nice in between. It's not painful. It's not going to rub your skin and be uncomfortable. but it does work to hold the firearm in your hand. It doesn't have directional support like something like the Archon or the FN509 does, but it doesn't seem to need it either. Especially with those subtle finger grooves up front, you really don't seem to get a lot of lift out of this gun. Next up, let's go to firing. So, when firing this firearm, it just feels right. It's a very nice gun to shoot. Recoil is smooth, predictable, and relatively easy to get back on target. And the relatively nice trigger. Now, there's a wide swath of quality of trigger in striker fire guns. The H&K is up towards the top. Is it the top? Probably not. As far as crispness goes, the H&K is sitting up there with Walthers and CZs. As far as travel goes, the travel of this trigger is actually quite a lot. It's not insane or anything like that, but when you look at a trigger like the trigger in the Canik TP9 series, which should not be nearly as good as it is, the H&K's trigger pull is probably 3 times as long, with a take-up after the reset of about 3/16 to 1/4 of an inch, which is actually quite a lot. The Canik take-up is next to nothing. The CZ and the Walthers take-up is about half of that. But that being said, when you're fast firing, it doesn't seem to affect too much. It's not incredibly long reset, like something like the Sig Legion, where, if you remember back on our review on that, did cause short strokes of the trigger. But again, the trigger lends itself to very good accuracy. It is a solidly accurate pistol with that 4-inch barrel and that 6-inch sight radius. You can get pretty good groups with it. Reloads are smooth with it. The magwell could use a little bit of flaring. It's relatively close to the magazine. Part of that is the cuts on either side to be able to grab and strip the magazine if the magazine gets stuck. And again, that positive magazine ejection is very nice. So I actually borrowed this gun. This is not my gun. With that being said, is the VP9 a solid gun? Yes. It actually just made it to one of my more wanted guns on the list. So I will be getting a VP9 thanks to the person that loaned me this. And that should say quite a bit about it, because in the gun landscape right now, I am not overly impressed with a lot of the offerings that I see out there. There's stuff that I feel like I need, there's stuff that is kind of on the list, but nothing that is really solidly on the list. So it was kind of refreshing. I know that the VP9 has been out for a long time, and I know I'm kind of late to the game on it, but it was refreshing shooting a gun that made me want the gun, because I've not had that since probably my Sig Legion, which was the beginning of this year. And I will be getting the 2020 version with the optics compatibility, because in this day and age, every gun should have a dot. So thanks for joining us, guys. That was our quick first shots take on the H&K VP9 2020, a strong striker entry from our European friends. If you found this video useful, go ahead and like and subscribe down below. If you like this kind of content and you want to see more, hit that notification bell. If you've got a VP9 or are interested in a VP9 and have a question or a comment, go ahead and write that down below and I'll answer as much as I can. Remember, down in the comments below, we've got our website, that's workthetrigger.com. Over there, you can find affiliate links, deal links, links to the pages that sell guns that I can't link to here on YouTube, and our apparel page. Thanks again, guys. Remember, I appreciate every one of you, and until next time, do your research, get informed, and get to work.